Well, good evening everybody, welcome back to Shutters and Speed. Today you join me on a trip to the East Kirkby Aviation Museum. I'm out this evening with a few like-minded spirits, as it were, and so we're going to go off to the Aviation Museum to their bike night. So, even though we've crossed the border into Lincolnshire, sorry, let's run them their titles, boy. Yeah, welcome back to Shutters and Speed, and this evening we're on our way up to East Kirkby to the Aviation Museum for their bike night. Now other earlier viewers will have remembered that I've been up this way many times before on a Lincolnshire ride, and there's a link to that maybe coming up in here somewhere for you to enjoy if you're interested. But tonight the sole purpose is to get to the museum, have a look around the museum and all the bikes that appear, and go from there really. And also, as an added bonus, we may well see the Lancaster Bomber they have there do a taxi run. So let's see how that all pans out. Yeah, the chap ahead of me here is a good friend of mine. We go way back to the late 70s, early 80s, and actually he's riding a machine tonight that he bought back in the early 80s, and it still runs as well today as it ever did. Fantastic. Yeah, so we're making our way up the New York Straight, as it's known here in Lincolnshire, and this is a popular route for people in the know, because it avoids going through the town of Boston, which can be a real bottleneck at times. So hopefully that'll work out okay. We shall soon be approaching Coningsby Airfield. This is where the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight is based, as well as the Typhoon Typhoon aircraft, the Eurofighters. Lincolnshire, especially from Norfolk where I live, you're probably looking at a 50 to 60 mile ride before you can get to really enjoy what Lincolnshire has to offer. And we're on a bit of a straight road at the moment, as I said earlier, but we will be soon be going on to much more curvy and fun roads to ride. We're going to have to be a bit careful this evening, I think, because there's going to be an awful lot of motorcyclists about. So hopefully that will hopefully bode for an enjoyable evening. Anyway, enough of that. You'll join us later at the museum.
Yeah, so here we are arriving at the East Kirkby Aviation Museum. We're just getting parked up, and I just thought I'd show you this because I thought that was quite efficient how they park so many bikes in such a short space of time. We arrived here, and as you can see, we're being parked up in straight lines. I suppose that's no different to anywhere else, but it seemed very efficient to me. And there's a guy there with his squares of plywood, and before you knew where you were, one of those appeared at your side stand, ready to put your side stand on and park up correctly. And I thought that was a great service, and I thought brilliant.
Yep, so we've arrived at East Kirkby, and as you can see, there are quite a few bikes here, and they have started to arrive, and we'll be doing some 360 footage later on. But the first thing we're going to do is hopefully go and get something to eat, so we'll see you later.
Yeah, so after having refueled ourselves, we thought we'd take a little wander around the motorbike, so I thought I'd get the 360 out and have a wander around this particular area of the bike park. They were spread out quite a bit over the vast area that this museum occupies, but this is a good aerial view, hopefully, of or gives you a taste of how many bikes were there, and also we get a look at the old Lancaster as well. So let's have a look at a few bikes. This is a GT 250X7. I had one of these back in the day. It was my first taste of freedom. It was a fantastic thing to own and got me everywhere I needed to go. And it's great to see this in such great nick. We're moving on now to a Honda CB 404. A great bike. It was a sort of a bit of a dream of mine when I was only about 15 or 16 years old, and I just love to see this thing today looking so great. A lot of the bikes you're going to see over the next few seconds are ones that mean a lot to me, so I make no apologies for that. These are the ones that I just think it's fantastic that they're still around. We now move on to my sort of next major step up really. This is a Honda CB 900. I had one similar to this, and I bought it at the same time roughly as the chap who had the Guzzi, who is with us tonight. And you know, I had some great times on this. We went up to Scotland a few times, and it was fantastic and a really reliable, brilliant bike to own. We now move on to another two-stroke, the Yamaha RD250E. The chap who came along to this with this was telling me all about the rebuild and so forth, and that was really interesting to hear the story. This is a Norton, a modern Norton, which is great to look at, but I don't think it's very comfortable to ride, so I'm not sure that I'd ever want to own one of these, but I do like the look of them. I think they look fantastic. We now move on to a Morgan three-wheeler. I can remember watching Top Gear one evening and seeing this going around the Donington racetrack and thought it was fantastic, and I've always admired them ever since, and this one is no exception. I love the colouring, and I especially like the effect of the steering wheel and instrumentation, which we'll have a close look at in a second. We then move on to another sort of late 70s muscle bike, if you like, a Laverda Mirage 1200, 3-cylinder, a real brute of a bike, and quite difficult to ride quickly, but very rewarding to look at, and I understand, because I've never had to go on one, very rewarding to ride. And we finish up with a Yamaha 250/350 LC. No bike meet is complete for me without seeing one of these. I did own one of these as well after the X7, and had a tremendous time riding one of these all around the countryside. Mine was had the blue stripe on the tank, but was fantastic.
Well, we're making our way home now from East Kirkby. We've spent a fantastic evening here watching the Lancaster taxi. What an experience that was. Hopefully there'll be some video and pictures as well that will be posted on here for you to have a look at and enjoy. You've probably seen them already because obviously we're at the end of the video. So that's about it really. We're now making our way home, as I said earlier, and it's a fitting end to a very enjoyable evening spent at the East Kirkby Aviation Museum. So all that remains for me to do is to ask you to like and subscribe, and keep safe everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. So this is Shutters and Speed signing off for now. Bye!